Welcome to the Empower Hour. Hope you all are having a great Sunday fun day. Hope you do something fun after this broadcast, but thank you for being on and making time for this broadcast before you get on with your day. Today's episode is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about moving beyond anger. And that is a very important topic for ex Jehovah's Witnesses because we can get stuck in anger for literally years. It's really tough to move past an angry stage. We could carry that for decades sometimes. And we're going to be talking about what we can do about it. How do we move past this? Many of you have heard me speak about the stages that we go through. We go through a stage of doubt. We usually we're going through that while we're still in the religion or slightly after leaving. Maybe we were disfellowship before we start really waking up. But the first stage is a stage of doubt. The second stage is a stage of fear, where you fear losing everything you know, everyone you know. You fear losing the belief system that you've wrapped your life all around. And then you go from fear to a stage of anger and resentment. And some people stay there forever. That's stage three. Stage four is a stage of discovery, and stage five is a stage of self knowing. But many never make it to stage 4 or 5 because they're stuck in anger. How do we get past anger? Well, first, we have to understand that life is not fair for anyone. Sometimes we're just looking at things through the lenses of someone who had that history, and it feels like only it's just us that are dealing with these injustices. And we make the letdowns and the disappointments so special when really life's not fair for anyone. Life on planet Earth is challenging by design. Life's not easy. Life is going to have its ebbs and flows and ups and downs. And if you live a long enough life, you're going to face devastation. You're going to face things that seem unsurmountable. And that's for everyone. So this is just something that we've got to deal with. This is something that, a burden on us that we've got to learn to deal with. But for everyone on earth, everyone who lives a long enough life, you're going to deal with something. So remember, challenges are a part of life. That's just part of what happens while we're here. We're challenged by things. Life is not easy. It's how you get through what happens to you. Life's not fair to that person that got hit by a drunk driver last night, will never walk again. Not fair. Life's not fair to that person who had some kind of debilitating, life altering illness. Maybe it's a stroke, MS. I mean, you could talk about so many things, cancer diagnosis. There's so many things that people go through. It's not fair. But we've got to get through whatever life throws at us. Remember this, in life, if we get knocked down 100 times, we've got to get up 101 times. To be successful in life, we must rise back up for whatever knocks us down, whatever is challenging in life. Life is simply not fair. We can't live life expecting it to be fair. And we can have those resentments like I should have went to college. I wish I went to college. I wish I got to play sports. I wish I pursued that love of my life that I met. So many things that you can resent in life, but that's everyone. Everyone would have done life differently if they could have done life differently, right? So understand that life is not fair. And to carry anger with you forever because something was not fair in the past, you're getting in your own way of winning. You become your own obstacle because we get so stuck in the past. We get so stuck on wanting to change something that we can't change. We cannot change yesterday. It is what it is. How do we build off of yesterday? See, every challenge in life just gives us a chance to be better. Every challenge in life just gives us a chance to be more powerful, more impactful, more empowered. That's what challenges do. How does a diamond become a diamond? By a pressure that you put on a stone. Most valuable things come through pressure. It's not easy, but we got to get through things. Sometimes we're mad because when we wake up, we find out we've been lied to. You finally allow yourself to read all the literature and really learn the history of this religion that you would have died for, and you found out you were lied to, and it makes you mad. I've gone through it, you know. I'm talking now, but I've been through it, so it's not something I don't understand. I was mad as can be when I found out all this stuff, right? But you've been lied to. But who hasn't been lied to? Our school systems lie to us all the time. History is a lie. If you really go into history, you've been lied to so much by all the powers that be. Life has been a lie. We're waking up to some major lies that were told to us. History is not what we were told it was. So it's not just the witnesses that lie to you. When people want to hold power over others, when people are trying to control other people's, lying about history is a part of it. All of history is a lie. History is told by the conquerors, told by the victors. You know, when these powers used to war on each other, the first thing they would do is destroy the libraries so they can rewrite history. That's what they did. So it's not just the witnesses that lied. So just understand that there's a bigger picture here, that the same thing that happened with the witnesses is also happening on a bigger level. So accept that lies are everywhere. It's on us to figure out the truth. It's on us to figure out what's real. It's not just the witnesses. Don't just focus all your energy there. You've been lied to all over the place. So understand that. Get to a place where you look at the witnesses as just being another false religion. When you stop holding it on high, like it's just the witnesses. When you really get to a healthy place, you just throw the witnesses on the scrap heap of false religion. You put it on the same heap as the Scientologists, as the Mormons, as the Adventists. It's just another false religion. It's just the one that you maybe were raised in or the one that fooled you. But there's so much of it. Catholicism. I mean, you can go on and on about the lies that you've been told through religion, which for the most part is a organized way of controlling people. It's just another false religion. And when you put it in that context, it has less power. You stop making it so big. You know, some people leave the witnesses, or so many leave the witnesses, and you're just fighting this huge organization. It just feels like they're so big and you're so small and you're just fighting this organization. Just put it on the scrap heap. Have it hold no more weight than all the rest of the falsities that you live amongst. It's just another religion that's constructed to control people. It's constructed to suck your energy dry. Now, when you were a witness, they wanted all your energy. They wanted your resources. They wanted all that bandwidth in your mind to be focused on them. The problem with a lot of people when they leave the religion is it's still their focus. They're just against it, but it's still their focus. And they cannot build their dreams. They cannot build a future because all their bandwidth is still going toward the religion. And there's no way for them to build a fulfilling life when the same thing is of the same importance. You're just against it, but you leave no room for your dreams. You leave no room for your growth. You leave no room for you to create another version, a bigger version of yourself, because they're still sucking your energy dry. They're grasping your attention. Everything is still focused on the religion. One way to move on and to get past the anger is to learn to accept the things in life you cannot change. And one thing you cannot change is other people. You cannot change other people. And sometimes I got a call that just came through while I was talking here. Well, sometimes you think that because you woke up, you're going to wake everybody else up. Because you woke up, everybody should see what you see and understand what you understand. You got to accept the things you can't change. One thing you can't change is other people. You can't change other people until they're willing to change, until they're open to change. You can't change yesterday. You cannot change yesterday. Yesterday does not exist, but only in your mind. You cannot change yesterday. Accept the things in life you cannot change. Accept the things in life that are out of your grasp. That way, you can put your focus and energy on the things that you can control. And if you want to live a successful life, put all your energy on the things that are within your control. You can't control other people. And as frustrating as that is, because sometimes those people are family members that you love, it could be your own kids. Once your kids are grown, you have no control. I'm going through that myself. I have no control, so I don't put a lot of energy on things I can't control. I focus on the things I can control. Some people want to fight their religion so badly. Here's little you fighting this multi-billion-dollar corporation. How much of your energy is that taking? I mean, some people are true activists, and more power to people who are true activists. But more than not, people aren't activists; they're just angry. Hats off to true activists. But understand the difference between a true activist and just being angry and wanting revenge and using your energy in a way that's not going to really accomplish anything while time is just going by in your life. Some of us may have been out for 20 years and we don't like our lives. We don't like the state of our lives. And because I was a Jehovah Witness and because I didn't go to school and because blame. And I'm not saying that's not a part of it, your whole entire life and every experience is a part of your journey, but you've had 20 years to address it. At some point, not addressing things and things not changing in your life, that's on you. As I said, life's not fair. People got to get over stuff. Some people grew up in a household where daddy was in prison and mom was on the streets selling her body. I've actually worked in youth detention centers where that's the story. And that young man is going to have to process that and somehow create a successful life instead of. That's not fair, right? But he can't hold on to that and be 50 years old and say, it's because of. No, somehow, some way, he's got to use his past constructively to build the life that creates success for him and become the inspiration that can become because of it. Every single one of you watching this video can be an inspiration to another person by how you get over this experience. And there'll be thousands of people that maybe want to hear your experience of triumph, your experience of not being a victim, but becoming a victor in life. Those are the people we look up to, is the people that get over stuff and are successful in spite of, not because of, but in spite of. It's all on us. Life is our responsibility. Remember what I'm going to say here. Write it down if you're taking notes. Life is 10% how life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we deal with what's happened to us. Again, life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we deal with what's happened to us. And if we deal with challenges the right way, we become one of the most powerful people we know. You see, when you come through challenges, you become very hard to take out in life. When you come through challenges, you may get knocked down in life, but you're the very person that no one can knock out in life. You always get back up. So look at challenges in a different way. Understand that challenges are the thing that make you what you become, good or bad. So make sure that the challenges in life are working to your benefit in the long run. I'd say also stop being defined by the religion. I don't even like to call myself an ex-Jehovah Witness. I might use it for some of the labels of these groups and things that we do so people can find us. But in my personal life, I don't even call myself an ex-witness because I'm not. It's just where I was when I was there. Like high school. I don't go around telling people what high school I came from. I don't say I'm an ex-Castle High School student. I'm just a guy that's growing, moving, and growing through experiences. Being a witness that's really my parents' religion, right? They brought me into it because I was their child, but that was a choice of theirs, not mine. And when I finally got to a place where I could make my own choice, I said, that's not what I am. So if that's not what I am, I never really was it. That was my parents. That was their whole thing. Even though I was in it because of them, it's not me. I'm not defined by it. I want to be bigger than it. It's a small religion. It's a small minded religion. The religion is small mindedness. They live in this world. Allow yourself to expand way out here. Keep that religion small and you get big. For most people, they make the religion big and they stay small and they fight this thing they can't seem to defeat. No, no, no. Allow yourself to expand beyond it. It's a small minded religion. That religion has zero growth. The people in it don't grow. There's no growth in that religion. It's a very small minded thing. Allow yourself to grow. Don't allow yourself to be defined by it by ever forever. By even saying I'm an ex Jehovah Witness, that still defines you by it. I mean, for those of you watching this broadcast who are divorced, do you consistently tell yourself or tell other people that you're so and so's ex or so and so was your ex? I'm so and so's ex-wife. I'm so and so's ex-husband. Are you defined by that person? No. You move on. You don't keep talking about life being married to this person. You'll never create a new life if you keep holding on to the past. No one's going to want you if you're defined by your ex-husband, right? Or your ex-wife. It's the same thing here. Move on. We're growing beyond it. We're not defined by it. For those of you who carry the label of disfellowshipped or whatever, lose the label. Don't ever call yourself that again. That's their word. That's their world. That comes from their world. You're not disfellowship. You're just no longer a witness. You're just grown beyond it. Don't use their words. It's fellowship, faded, disassociated. That's their world. You're just not a witness. However you grew beyond it, you grew beyond it. When you get out of high school, you graduated, you dropped out, you got kicked out. When you're 20, it doesn't matter anymore. You just are beyond the high school experience. You're beyond the witness experience. So stop being defined by it. And when you change your focus, you're making way for the new. You're making way for the new. If I didn't like the water that's in this bottle, I'm going to pour it out. I'm going to pour new water in it. As long as I keep this bottle full, it's the same water. Can't fit anything new in it. Got to pour it out. Make room for the new. Understand, you only have so much bandwidth in life. You only have so much bandwidth. So you might be raising kids. You might have a husband or wife to take care of. You got a job to take care of. You got all these things. And if you use the bandwidth you got left for the witnesses in their world and all that's going on in their world, you got very little bandwidth for your growth. You got very little bandwidth for something new. And what happens is all you have when you don't add anything new to your life, all that happens is here's the religion and you extract yourself from the religion, but you haven't grown, right? So you kind of stay on the same level. All you've done is lost something, not gained anything. And when you allow yourself to gain something new, you feel less loss. When you allow yourself to grow, you get triggered less, right? You only get triggered when you come back to this level and you dance with them. But if you allow yourself to grow and expand, their whole world will just mean nothing to you. You've just grown beyond it. You won't get triggered so much because it just won't be a part of your world. It will all seem silly. You'll understand that it just doesn't resonate anymore. And it's easy to let things go when it doesn't resonate. But when you just extract yourself and you don't move forward, yeah, it's gonna bother you because you're still here. You're just a person minus the religion. You're just a person minus the community you had, minus the friends, minus it's just loss. And you won't feel good until you gain. And when you gain, this bothers you less. So you've got to allow room for the new. You got to pour out the old so you have new. And that's when you will feel it less. That's when it will bother you less. Maybe you fill your time with contribution and doing something that is giving to the community. Maybe you get involved with some charities and start really giving back in the world. Maybe you have a gift and talent that you want to share with the world. Now you're able to be who you truly are. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of the freedom you have to grow, the freedom you have to be the person you were meant to be. Instead of just staying at the same level, fighting this thing, making your life miserable because there's no growth. One thing that helps you do this is when you learn to invalidate the Jehovah's Witnesses. You must invalidate anyone from that world. And even if it's a parent, you must invalidate them. They are seeing everything through this small world. Everything they think, everything they try to explain, everything they judge you on is in this small world. And when you're here, they don't understand your world. They don't. They try to understand your world in this little world. That's why the witnesses love labels. They like to put a label on you so they can discard you. They don't want to understand you. They got to put a label. If you say something that they don't understand, oh, you've been watching apostate or reading apostate things, haven't you? So they can discard you. They try to put it in their little apostate box so they don't have to talk about it, so they can just discard you. That's what they do, because the only way it makes sense in this world is to put a label on it. That's what they do. So you got to invalidate anybody from that world, because their world only makes sense to them. If they were to speak to anybody else on this planet to explain their world, it'd make no sense to anyone but a witness. So invalidate it. Don't own it. Don't take it on. Don't feel bad about yourself because of the opinion of a Jehovah's Witness, because they live in their own world. It's kind of like people who are in prison. Prison's got its own rules, its own hierarchy. It's a madhouse, but it's got its own way it works. And when people get out of prison, you can't live life based on that system. You don't live life based on the opinion of the people who are locked up for life and what they think about you. It doesn't matter. That's all in that world. You don't come out of prison and move across the street and stay there and be obsessed about what's going on the other side of that fence. Move on, my friends, move on. Also, lose the need to be right. That will make you unhappy also. A lot of ex-witnesses just want to be right. They want to argue with people who are still Jehovah Witnesses, and they want to be right, and they want to make a point. Lose the need to be right. If you're still in touch with people who are in that world, just love on them. Just keep the conversation light. They're light people. I always say small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and big minds talk about dreams, philosophies, and ideas. And they can't hang with that third group. That's not them. They talk about people. So when you're around witnesses, yeah, talk about the family, talk about what's going on in your life and the kid's life, and keep it simple, but love on them and lose the need to be right. There's no need to get in these arguments about doctrine and their beliefs. Everybody gets to um, choose the road they're on. And for now, if that's the road that they choose, that's their right. We're no different than witnesses if we exist and everybody think like us. We're just like them. We're going to push what we think on everybody else. We're just like witnesses, right? Just love on them. They're on their journey. You're on your journey. I'm on my journey. And what we want, the respect that we want, we must give, right? So lose the need to be right and play the long game. Remember, life is long. You never know what's going to happen with these people that are witnesses. They may wake up in their own due time. You'd be shocked with who wakes up. Even in the group that we have, there's people that when I talk to them, like, oh man, you're one of those people. No one ever thought you were going to wake up. And they wake up. So play the long game. Sometimes you're missing family members. You might be missing siblings and children. When you can get past anger, you're a better example for what can be. When you can get past anger, They'll look at you and go, that person's life's not so bad, you know? Wow. They're really thriving ever since they left. Wow, look at them. When someone shines in life, you can't deny it. When somebody is shining and winning in life, it's undeniable. And one thing, a lot of times when people are angry, is exactly when they want to wake people up. You're angry, you're mad. I'm going to wake up everybody. And guess what? Nobody's going to follow you because no one likes to follow angry people. They're happier where they're at. They're looking at you being angry, and they got this community that they really enjoy being a part of. They're not going to follow you because you're angry. No one follows angry people. But when you're thriving in life, when you're obviously happy, when you have a thriving relationship, when you figured out how to live in a flow in life and everything's thriving for you, and you have this obvious glow about you, this obvious energy, then maybe one day when the organization disappoints them, you're the person they come through. They're like, how did you do that? I watch your life just elevate. How did you do that? And then you will be more likely to be an assistance, or being that person to plant a seed, because you planted a seed in the way that you lived your life. And last of all, I would say live in gratitude. If you want to get past anger, appreciate what's right in your life. Stop focusing on what's wrong. Just for your body to feel good, there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of things going right at the right time. Your body's amazing. Just physically being here. Appreciate what's right. Someone in chronic pain, the only thing that's wrong in their life is this pain. That's the only thing that I gotta get. If I got rid of this chronic pain, oh my God, I'd be so happy. Right? Understand that as much as we can complain about things, we could get a phone call tomorrow that will change your life, and that will make what we've been complaining about feel like nothing, because this news was so heavy, or this diagnosis was so heavy. So don't waste time. If you're healthy, if you've got healthy children, if there's things in your life that are good, focus on those things. Focus on what's right. And your mind works like this. Whatever you focus on, your super subconscious part of your mind goes out of its way to find more evidence of. If you think life sucks and you're focused on what's wrong, the super subconscious will go, okay, let's find more of what's wrong. Okay, that what you want to focus on? Things are wrong. Okay, and this is, you got this. Don't forget about this, and this sucks, and this is awful, and it starts to look for evidence, because you're right about whatever you believe. If you want to believe life is wonderful, the super subconscious mind looks for evidence of that. And this is great, and this is awesome, and she's awesome, and this is wow. How amazing is life? It does that. So, what do you want to focus on? Live in gratitude. Make a gratitude list every morning of the things you're grateful for, and live in gratitude, understanding that even though you're in gratitude, life will come with its challenges. And there's a flip side to everything. So, even on a challenge, there's another side of that coin. So, live in gratitude, my friends. So, let's bring our panel up. We got three with us today. We got Bree, we got Gary, and we got Judy. Ah, great discussion, I think. Who wants to start off today with a share? Judy, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry. Well, my mind was just going crazy when you were talking because when I first started listening to some channels, my sister-in-law, who is also no longer associated, kept giving me channels to listen to, and I had already been out quite some time, and really, my attitude with her was like, I don't really care. Like, I just don't care what they're doing now. I don't really have time or energy for that. But I did listen to some of it, and I'm thankful that I did now. I have the gratitude because it led me to your channel and with you, Coach Rod, which is a whole different aspect on it, because I did find that people were just like stuck in that anger and stuck in what's wrong and what they were lied to and what they didn't get, and so mad about things. And I'm like, I'm past that. I think, if you don't get past that, yes, we could have done, you coulda, shoulda, woulda, you would should all over yourself. Like, I can't change that. And so with the time and energy that I have left, I want to live my best life. I don't want to waste time on worrying about what I could have done or being angry about things that I can't change. So just I appreciate the channel for that and the group for that, because it takes, none of us can go back in time. If we had, that would be a great skill if we were time travelers. But as far as I know, I've not mastered that skill yet. So got to do with what we have. Take the energy and time that we have now and live our best life that we can.
Yeah, yeah. Things have their place. There's lots of channels. And when people first wake up, I think it's important that you do have channels that um, further wake people up, right? It has its place, but you also have to know when to let those things go, right?
Yeah. And
And to
like I
keep,
said, I'm grateful
yeah,
for it,
yeah, to
because I
keep
would have
moving.
never found this channel
Right,
without
right.
going
So,
through that.
it's a process. These are steps, right? And this is our lane in it, where people are ready to really get on with life. But it all has its place. But it's when we get stuck. We don't want to repeat the fifth grade 10 times. You got to know when to move on. You don't want to repeat any grade over and over again. Keep moving in life. So I'm so glad you're here. You add so much positivity. So awesome. Great share. Next, Gary.
Yeah, anger takes a lot of energy. It can give us high blood pressure. It could actually lead to heart issues. In the moment, there are things that we are rightly angry about, but prolonged anger is just an energy sapper. Um, and if we think about any decisions we've ever made out of anger, they were probably regrettable. It's probably something like it was punitive, or it was like get rid of this, or just something severe. Because anger is that kind of an emotion. It kind of takes all the logic right out of our head, and we don't think clearly. So to really be angry, to maintain anger over something, we have to have a great memory. Because what, like 10 years, 20 years after whatever made us angry, we have to remember why we're angry about this person or this thing, and we have to kind of go through this playbook in our head about that. Well, that's right. I'm not talking to this person, and here's why. It probably doesn't even matter anymore. We don't even know what that person's doing in their life, what they're thinking, what they believe. It's just an energy sucker that you have to remember and bring up what made you angry if you're going to continue in an angry state, and that's just not healthy.
Yeah, you're right. Anger is like a fire, right? Like a fireplace. You got to keep adding logs to it, right? It will naturally dissipate if you don't keep adding logs to it. And for a lot of people, it's just that need to be right or feel right. You keep adding logs, so when you keep watching things and doing things to fuel it, it never goes away. A lot of people ask me what I think about a lot of documentaries on the witnesses, and I don't watch them because it makes me angry. I'm not beyond it. Anything I watch where someone is being um, disparaged, or if it's not fair, it's like there's a lot of things on racial things that I may not watch because it pisses me off. And I already know it happens. It's not telling me anything new. It's just making me mad, right? And then what can you do about it? So you got this energy in your body that you are now you're mad. Like, when you're mad, now you get short, and now you're mad about something else. Now you're short with your kids, right? Now you got that energy going on, and it's just not something that you want to carry with you. Remember, all emotions are valid. So this is not saying that anger is an invalid emotion. All emotions are valid. But some emotions, like anger, are more like fire alarms. They're telling you that something's not right and it needs to be either addressed or let go. So if it's something you can address and it makes you angry, you address it. Or if it's something you need to let go, you let it go. But the negative emotions like anger is not to marinate in. You're trying to marinate in the good ones. You're trying to marinate in the positive emotions. And the angry ones tell you that something needs to be addressed or gotten over. So sometimes it's a conversation. Someone angered you. There's a conversation that needs to be had. This needs to be rectified. Okay. So you're angry, then you address it. Now, if it's something that's not going to be rectified, then you need to let it go. You don't want to stew in anger. Like you said, Gary, it affects your physical self. It just does a lot of damage to yourself. Um, Also, another thing that helps us get past the anger if we were raised in a religion like this is sometimes we have to take the time to understand the story of whoever got us involved. And for most of us, it's our parents, right? Or sometimes your own story. So, me understanding how my mom and dad got involved in this gives me compassion for them and helps me to understand them. So, let me share how I process this. My mom and dad come from the South back in the Jim Crow era. My mom's from Alabama, my dad's from Tennessee. And they grew up in a time where it was just not fair for people of color. And my dad joined the Air Force and got a lot of confidence from the Air Force, and got stationed in Hawaii. And Hawaii was great because it didn't have all the racial stuff going on. So I was actually raised there. But what happened is they found the religion around the time I was born. So can you imagine this religion that's telling them this is why this is? And there'll be a paradise earth real soon, right? Back then they're thinking 1975, but real soon where all this stuff's not going to exist. And that sounds wonderful to my parents, doesn't it? And one thing I give the witnesses credit for is with racial things, to me they were way ahead of people in that your race was Jehovah Witness, not the color of your skin, right? So your race is Jehovah Witness, your prejudice against the rest of the world. It's kind of like that. So my dad goes up the ranks real fast, becomes an elder pretty quickly. So can I understand how this religion gave him answers to things he didn't understand? I'm not saying they were proper answers, but it was answers that made sense to him. Do I understand how they gave him a community that he just loved being a part of? And he became somebody in that community, became an elder. My mom became a pioneer. Do I understand how this religion in their minds made their life better? My dad also smoked and drank a lot before he became a witness. And that, that was no longer an issue. Do I understand how this religion in his mind made his life better? Absolutely. Doesn't mean it was for me, right? That's his life. So can I have compassion? Would their life have been better if they weren't witnesses? Maybe not. You know, sometimes we like to tell ourselves a story that if I wasn't a witness, I would have did this and that and all the positive things. But maybe if you weren't a witness, you would have been a gang member. Maybe if you were a witness, you would have been on drugs, right? So we got to balance it out because the story isn't always going to be a positive one. And for my parents, the experience in their minds was positive. For me, I'm not the same person. I don't live the same life. I have a different viewpoint. I'm not them, so it doesn't work for me, but I can have compassion for them. Okay. Bree, do you have a share?
Yes, just kind of going along with what Gary mentioned on and what you were also saying is so many stay stuck in that angry mindset, that angry field about what all being a Jehovah's Witness took from them, what all it prevented them from becoming, and just that blame game. But choosing to reframe that part of our life. And I think you once said that the words we attach to our experience become our experience. So choosing to look at what being a witness did for us, just like you said with your dad, how you can see how it benefited him in his life, and it's not for you now. And not that is for any of us here now, but we could choose to reframe what it gave to us, the good that the advantages or what it taught us, or the speaking skills, or the good takeaways that we got from becoming a witness.
Yeah. And again, balancing out, the different experiences that other people have. Like I said, that kid in the detention home whose dad was in prison his whole life, and his mom was a prostitute, and he was the oldest brother taking care of his siblings. That's why he was selling drugs, right? I mean, would I exchange my experience for his life? No. I had decent people around me. I grew up and didn't agree with the religion, right, in time, but I didn't have that. I can't imagine the abuse he went through. I mean, that was just the top of the iceberg. If he's starting there, it only goes downhill from there. There's a whole lot of stuff he's not telling me that he experienced, right? So, would I exchange my experience for his? And maybe he got to play sports. If he probably did whatever he wanted to do as a kid growing up, right? But would I exchange my life for that kind of life? No, right? So life just is what it is. It's not, like I said, it's not fair for anyone. Not fair for people who grow up having to walk a mile to get water for their family. They're carrying home the same water that the animals swim and drink in. It's not fair. It's not fair when their kids get sick from drinking that bad water or start. It's not fair, right? So appreciate what we do have. Little things. You know what? We go to the bathroom and turn the water on. Out comes the water. We turn the stove on. Our lives have so many advantages. We're using this technology. Well, I've met two of you before in person, but for the most part, we communicate this way, right? We met online. How cool is it that we live in this world? How cool is it that we have the conveniences we have? Now, what do we do with it? What do we do with our advantages? Do we sit around and complain and not use the advantages that we have and all the opportunities that come with the life that we live today in this day and age? Or do we just complain about the things that we did not like? There's always going to be things to complain about. Right? Next, anyone else? Judy?
Just to continue with what Bree said, and what you said too about life isn't fair to anyone, and energy goes where attention flows. So if we look at like the positive things, like there were a whole lot of positive things that came from being raised as a witness. Speaking skills, none of us graduated from the theocratic ministry school, but we took away a lot of things that are life skills that we can use in other things. People that we met that, maybe are still part of our lives that have also woken up. But when you said like life isn't fair to anyone, and, I've always been inspired by people that seem to have like every mark against them and then still overcome. And then other people who maybe were born with all the advantages and then squandered it. So the difference is how they dealt with it, how they reacted to it. And I know when, one of the triggering things for me personally was with my daughter who is still in her wedding. And I had actually gone to something for work and was listening to other people there. And this woman, was not a witness and was going through the same thing, had been like shunned from her own daughter's wedding and had a strange relationship. And it made me think, hey, you know what? This can happen to anyone. This isn't just because of the witnesses. Everybody has stuff that they have to deal with. And it's all on what we focus on, where our attention, if we look at that positive part of it, have the compassion. I once was where she is. And yet, when I woke up or left, like I know people's jaws were dropped. Like they just couldn't believe it because I was so in. And that is how my daughter is. And I'm like, but she's in now. That doesn't mean she'll be in next year or 5 years or 10 years. I don't know.
You're playing the long game. And sometimes in the long game, it just means that you woke up first, right? You have no idea what crazy thing that religion some change that wakes everybody up or some scandal. It could be right around the corner for you, but you got to play the long game, right? And what I love, Judy, is in your situation, you handled it with love. You're taking the higher road, and you're a great example. Again, the thing about life is, remember, it hits the fan. At some point, it hits the fan for everyone. At some point, everyone falls flat on their behind in life. That's everyone. It could be a marital divorce. It could be conflict with someone of influence in the congregation, an elder. It could be, life is a roller coaster, right? And you just never know when the bottom falls out. And when you are the one person that obviously is doing well, the one person who will not be judgmental, when something happens. And sometimes it's an awful mistake that people make where they are flat wrong. Maybe they cheated on their spouse and their whole world turns on them because of a mistake they made. Who's the person that says, you know what, you made a mistake, but I'm not judging you? Right? When you can remain that person, you just never know what's going to go on in people's lives. So make sure you're not the angry person, because no one runs to the angry person. They got their own stuff going on. They don't need more of yours. They want to go to that soft place to land of that person of understanding and that person who can add value to their lives. And one thing I would say, to not be angry or to move past anger, also add value to people. When you add value to other people's lives, it's hard for that in anger to stay in the same space. Remember, your mind can only hold one emotion at a time. It can't hold two. So if you are finding ways to be in gratitude and to live a life that makes you feel good, there's no space for anger, right? So make sure you have good control of your emotions and have ways that you uh, techniques you use to give you positive emotions so you don't stay stooped in anger. Okay, Gary?
Yeah, that what you just said about uh, your mind can only hold one emotion at a time. I think those are the words you used.
Hmm.
Um, I was just thinking that before this when you just told me the theme of today's, and I was thinking, how would I say that? I couldn't. I'm not going to go there because I don't know how to put it. But it's true. I mean, we could probably remember times that something made us very angry, but we were crying at the same time because it's a sorrowful thing and it's frustrating. And it's like, so, oh, isn't that, several emotions at the same time? But really, there's one emotion that, as you said, your mind is holding on to at that time. So what I've done is I've whenever I've had like I don't control sadness too well. I can marinate in for a really long time. So in this, there's been situations when I was in when I knew that if I continue this state, I'm going to be. I don't want to talk to the elders in a sad state because they don't deserve tears, in my opinion. So I would kind of switch it to anger because you could be angry about the same thing, but you can't do both at the same time. It's really an amazing thing. So now, instead of trying to replace anger with this or replace sadness with that, is I genuinely find humor in so many things. I was just talking just a few days ago to a very good friend of mine who's also a post JW, and we were talking about things in the organization. Like she talks a lot about nepotism, how that was a big deal where she grew up. And I honestly said for the longest time, I'd say I never saw nepotism in any of the congregations I was ever in. I really never saw it because I was kind of looking at it as you're talking about where an elder's son gets privileges, and that's like the definition of nepotism. And just the other day, I remembered an amazing case of nepotism that I saw firsthand for years. And so I got back on a call with this person, and I was laughing the whole time. I'm saying, can you believe that I've been saying I've never seen nepotism before when this happened and I went through the situation, and it was just funny. It was just it cracked me up. Like this guy actually did this, and this is the way people responded, and this is the way his kids did this. And isn't that ridiculous? How I really thought I was defending the organization. I really thought there's no such thing as nepotism. Now I could, I suppose, condemn myself for defending the organization when it was really not defensible. But that's the way it was when we were all in. We defended the organization. So instead of condemning myself and going back and getting mad about the nepotism and all those other things, I just decided, boy, this is actually pretty crazy, isn't it? And we just laughed about it. I'm not saying you can laugh about everything. Some people say you can. But I've just found that it's a great way. And I use it actually like if somebody does something really stupid on the road, cuts me off, or does something that completely screws up traffic or something like that. I just find it funny there's something about it. I go through a dialogue in my head, what I would say to that person if I had the chance to talk to them. Because what's the point of being angry about it? You can't control what that person just did. You'll never see them again. And so how is anger going to serve you? It's just going to raise your blood pressure. It's going to cloud your thinking. And so anyway, I just think humor is a really good solution sometimes.
I think one of the things we need to do too is expect what they do. A lot of times in the group, you'll see people really upset. They'll screenshot a letter they got in the mail for some random witness, or maybe it's their family, invited them to memorial, whatever. Expect what they do. Why get mad at things that they do? They do it. Most of the things we did when we were in it. So why are we going to get mad when a witness is acting like a witness? So expect what they do, and when they do it, just if you get something in the mail or something you didn't expect, it's just like, I didn't ask for those ads from or whatever, this junk mail from Ace Hardware, Home Depot. I didn't ask for it, but I just threw it in the trash. Right? I didn't ask for it. That's what Ace does. That's what Home Depot does. That's what these stores do. Coupons or whatever, right? That's what they do. So understand witnesses do what they do and expect it ahead of time. So when it happens, you don't get all triggered up and upset when a witness is acting like a witness. A dog is going to act like a dog. A cat is going to act like a cat. A witness is going to act like a witness. So don't get yourself all riled up. I never got it, but if I were to get something like that, it would amuse me if I read it, or I just throw it away. It doesn't affect my life. I'm not part of that world. Judy, you had your hand up?
Just that was something that you had helped me with in preparing for the wedding, to keep my expectations low, my head held high, and so then we don't get angry.
Explain to them what happened with the wedding.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were all part of my world already. No, my daughter, who is so very much in just, she, I was always hoping she would fall in love with a worldly person, but she did not. And she she had her wedding, and we were just, excluded from coming to the reception. I'm not officially out as far as they're concerned, but I've not lived as a witness for the last 19 years. So again, knowing I probably would have done the same thing if I were a pioneer and a ministerial servant. So we were like welcome to go to the ceremony, but not to the reception. And I had never met her in-laws or her to-be in-laws, and I'm her mom, and so obviously I'm divorced and remarried. And at first it was a big triggering thing, and I cried and was in the fetal position for a few days. And then my nephew, who is official, and my sister, who I keep conversation superficial with, light, but keep contact, has not spoken to her own son for 11 years. And I mistakenly was thinking I was going to get some support from her. And when I looked back at it, I'm like, why would I think that she would be supportive of me or resonate with how I was feeling when this is someone that doesn't even talk to their own son? Because I was so upset that I was not going to be invited to the reception. But Coach Rod really helped with that. By the time I went, I was completely comfortable. I went right up to her in-laws and introduced myself, and, said I was, happy to meet them. And, we didn't go to the reception because we weren't invited, but my nephew and a few of us, we all went out and had our own little party afterwards. And, I felt good about the whole thing. And she just celebrated her 1 month anniversary, and I just sent a little card to her. And, I've not heard anything back, but my expectations are low. I don't expect to hear anything back. And if I do, great. And if I don't, that's okay too.
Perfect.
So how that went.
Yeah. Judy, you kept everything. You played the game your way. You kept your expectations low. You put yourself in the mind of a witness, so you knew what to expect, not expecting anything more. You were there at the most important part, her wedding. understanding that the reception will be a Jehovah Witness kind of celebration. You might not even want to be at anyway because they're in their own little world and you did your own thing. So perfect. People are a lot like animals. They respond to energy. You did not bring your energy down. You didn't act like you didn't belong. Went right up to people. For everyone listening, just see how she did that. And
And there were people there that did shun me, but I kind of knew that they were going to. And I was like, I'm not wasting my energy getting mad at you. Sorry, you're lost. I have a lot to share with you today, and it's a great day. And, you don't want to talk to me. Okay, I don't really want to talk to you either.
it's not your friends anyway. They were your comrades when you're in it. They weren't your friends. And again, when you live life on your terms, it's a good filter for people anyway. Like, yeah, if you do as you must, I will do as I must, and I'm not affected by it. I love it. Okay, any last shares before we end? Bree?
I just loved how Judy really took control and power of that situation. And that's one thing I'm learning is you can't control things outside of yourself ever. You can't. And when we try to do that, we are never successful, but we can control who we are on the inside. And that's what Judy demonstrated. She took power and control, and she controlled herself and how she handled the situation very beautifully.
Yeah. And moving with love, right? Still sending your daughter a nice card. Still, they're receiving that love. A lot of times when people don't respond back, it's because they don't know how to. They're conflicted between this world they're programmed and what's really inside. So again, how people act a lot of times really betrays how they're really feeling. So perfectly played and playing the long term, keeping that connection regardless of her response back. You never know what's going to happen in her world in the future. So, panel, thank you for being on. Again, I know it's Sunday. It's beautiful wherever you live. It's a fun time to be out. Sunday fun day. But y'all made time to be here. We appreciate it. Appreciate all of you watching live and all of you who will watch us on YouTube later. Thank you for being a part of our world. Go out there and have some fun today. See you next week.